I want to talk about a long shot that I'm going to be using in the Kentucky Derby. In fact, I may even be using him prominently in my wagers, and that's number 13, Hidden Stash, trained by Vicky Oliver, ridden by Rafael Bejarano, 50 to 1 on the morning line. And if you notice, he ended his 2-year-old season with consecutive wins going 2 turns. One at Keeneland, where he beat 8 opponents by 3 lengths, and then at Churchill against 6 foes, his first time facing winners. Pretty impressive to do that. You don't see a lot of 2-year-olds that win twice going a route of ground as a juvenile. I mean, obviously it happens. Some of them do it in stakes races in grade 1. So I'm not trying to say that what Hidden Stash did there was exceptional, but I think the fact that he won twice going 2 turns as a juvenile is indicative of at least some ability. Then he came back to start the 3-year-old year in the Sam Davis. Couldn't get to Candyman Rocket, who I think had maybe a little bit of a fitness advantage over Hidden Stash that day. It was a good enough start to the 3-year-old campaign. And then in the Tampa Bay Derby, he went 3 wide all the way around the clubhouse turn, 5 wide all the way around the turn for home. Now, so did eventual winner Helium. So I'm not saying being wide was necessarily where you did not want to be at Tampa Bay Downs that day. But with that much ground loss, I think you could look at that 83 buyer that he earned in the Tampa Bay Derby and perhaps upgrade it. You know, you can decide for yourself how much you want to upgrade it. But I don't think it's unreasonable to say that given the ground loss, you know, he may have run a mile and a 16th fast enough to earn like maybe a 90 buyer, maybe even a little bit higher than a 90 buyer speed figure. So I think it was a really good effort. And people have said that he hung late in the Tampa Bay Derby. But if you watch the head-on replay, you'll have to do it on your own. I'm going to play a replay of the Bluegrass here in a second. But he got bumped twice by Helium in the lane. I'm not saying that means he would have gone by Helium, but I do think it's not fair to say that he, you know, got into the stretch, made a move, and then just flattened out. I think that's a little bit overly critical of Hidden Stash, especially when you watch the head-on. He ran a really good race, and then came back in the Bluegrass, where they really did not go quickly early, and he was, you know, 4 lengths out of it, and then started to make his move around the turn. And it looks on the past performances here that he really flattened out, and the other 2 ran on, which they did. Essential Quality and Highly Motivated ran on, which you would expect them to, given, you know, their overall ability and how slowly they ran early. But I'm going to try to set this up here. Let's see if we can watch the head-on late of the Bluegrass, and I'm going to fast forward because I really want to focus on the latter part of the race. Let's go. Let's see. This is going to take me a minute to get to it. I probably should have had this queued up. This is into the back stretch. This is down the back stretch. This is around the turn. Okay, Hidden Stash. God, this is poor quality here. But here he is right here where my little arrow is pointing. And he starts to make his move, and you're going to see at the top of the lane, he'll be the wide one here. There he is in the blue cap. You can just pick him out. This is Keep Me in Mind to his inside in the green silks. And watch what happens right here. Keep Me in Mind really slams him and gets out on him. And that's kind of the end of it for Hidden Stash. He keeps running, but he doesn't have that same power that he was showing rounding the turn. And yeah, he did lose something there. He keeps running, would end up 4th in here, kind of gets in late. But I think, to me, I think he really, really could have been 3rd in there if he hadn't been bumped like that. I think it could have been a much better finish. So to me, what that says is Hidden Stash is a horse that just kind of keeps on running. And I know the criticism of him has been that he just can't finish the deal. And I understand where that criticism comes from. But I think if you watch the replay of the Tampa Bay Derby, which you should, and see how wide he is and that nice move he made around the turn for home, and then you watch maybe a little better quality video of the Bluegrass than I just showed you here, I think you'll come away with the opinion that he's a horse. He's one of the ones that will be running late in the Kentucky Derby. And if the race falls apart, I think you have to upgrade his chances if you think that's what's going to happen. But even if it doesn't, you've got 20 horses in here, and we know from past experience that the vast majority of these horses are going to be stepping on their tongue with a quarter of a mile left to run. And I don't think Hidden Stash is one of those horses. Will he be too far back to to win? Will he have too much work to do and have to pass too many good horses to hit the exacta? I mean, yeah, probably so. But I'm not even saying that's impossible. I mean, if the race fall, look at Giacomo. I'm not saying Hidden Stash is the quality that Giacomo is. I think Giacomo had run Byers and 100 or nearly 100 before he won the Kentucky Derby, and Hidden Stash just isn't at that level. But I think Hidden Stash is one of the ones that will be running late. And if I'm right, and if he is, I think he has a chance to hit the board. And who knows, if the race completely falls apart and it's a total stagger fest in that final quarter of a mile, maybe Hidden Stash could even shock the world and win the Kentucky Derby. I'm not saying I'm going to be betting heavily on that, but I think he's one of the ones you want to consider. Best of luck